батеньки, господи, очень-очень. Душка. Шнапс. Thank you. Света нету, что ли, там, да? Наверное, не знаю. Души нету, Что еще есть?
Who said anything about collecting laughs? I'm after negative emotions. And my new friends have kindly invaded the factory to get them for me.
The first Baymax and the chip I made vanished into another dimension along with the microbots. The chip's back, so the first Baymax might be back too.
Where'd they come from? And what do they want? Tell us how you managed to take them down.
People like spectacle, not truth.
Yeah, who needs quality reporting?
People like spectacle, not truth.
Yeah, who needs quality reporting when you can just make stuff up?
I don't get it. I mean, didn't they see how awesome we were? Sure, those things landed a couple of good hits.
I'm detecting minute contractions in your faces and shoulders, perhaps due to the garage's brisk temperature. To remedy that, I will give each of you a hug.
Mr. Gibbs, I expect you're able to account for your actions then. There's been a perpetual and virulent lack of discipline upon my vessel. Why?
Sir, you're You're in Davy Jones' locker, Captain.
Well,
You're in Davy Jones' locker, Captain.
I've seen some adventures, but I never thought I'd find you here.
Jack neglected to repay a certain...
But I never thought...
Captain.
Why?
Sir, you're...
Perpetual and virulent lack of discipline upon my vessel? Why?
Чё это?
Sir, you're in Davy Jones' locker, Captain.
Well, I've seen some adventures, but I never thought I'd find you here.
Jack neglected to repay a certain debt to Jones. So Jones sent the Kraken to devour Jack. And that's how he ended up here.
Jack's one of the 9 pirate lords. You have no right.
Your debt to me is still to be satisfied. 100 years in servitude aboard the Dutchman.
Advise your brethren. You can fight, and all of you will die. Or you cannot fight, in which case only most of you will die.
Cast your fate with Jack Sparrow, and you'll soon be sharing in the wrath of Davy Jones. Oh, and you'll soon be sharing in the wrath of Davy Jones.
Say, Maleficent, I don't know about his sidekicks, but Kid Keyblader here looks way punier than the last time we saw him. I say we finish him off while we still can.
We are not here for you. I have my own business to attend to. All I need to know is if there is a distinctive black box somewhere in this world.
I don't admire one guy leaping into danger if it means someone else might have to jump in to save him. You're all just lining up to lose out, dooming others to take the fall with you.
This pile of junk collected the data we needed. The terror of being attacked without warning. The despair of the terror of being attacked without warning. The despair of having no place to run. The longing for vengeance.
You define me, Sora, the same way that Ventus does. We are brothers who together make a greater whole. I rejoined the nobodies, but I just can't shake the feeling I've been sweet-talked, you know? We have so got to have a chat.
How could I love games and contests without honoring the rules? Because only by winning fairly does victory have any savor at all.
Rapunzel is far too important. Atop her tower, she must remain out of sight and live out her days with Mother Gothel.
I don't require humanity. Give me my research. I must see it to fruition, no matter the cost.
What excellent tidings. I would hate to think we invited you back into our ranks, only for you to fail to deliver our final vessel.
The name's Larxene. This time remember. And we'll take care of Elsa, so don't you worry.
Roxas should never have existed in the first place. What you seek is impossible. The shadows are never out of reach. So, you think you can... The shadows are never out of reach. So, you think... The first place. What you seek is impossible. Roxas back? Today is the day. So, you think you can bring Roxas back? Today is the day you all lose. Before you even face the... The 13. Every last one of you will be torn heart from body. Legend has it that darkness once covered the world. That darkness once covered the world. We know so little about the Keyblade War, only that it was just the beginning. If ruin brings about creation, what then would another Keyblade War bring?
And is that why you decided to exclude her?
Is it really you?
Why you decided to exclude her?
Is it really you?
What happened?
And is that why you decided to exclude her?
Is it really you?
What happened? Why are we here? You tell me!
Is that you, Lucio? You look different.
Our roofs lowered even further until there was barely any space left, and trilby are naturally crushable and can be packed and stored more easily. And as time developed and softer felt hats like the fedora and trilby became more popular, car roofs lowered even further until there was barely any space left at all. For a comparison, consider this car from the 1950s and compare it against the models we showed from the early 1900s. You'll see that there's a drastic difference in the height of the roof. And around this same time, we also saw the Federal Aid Highway Act of 1956, signed by President Dwight Eisenhower, which saw the construction of a 41,000-mile national system of interstate and defense highways. The construction of safe and convenient highways that crossed the entire country underscored the reality that by this time, cars had become a way of life. So, with the advent of highways, there were even more cars and car travel occurring, and fewer people were traveling by train, subway, bus, or tram. So, this got us into a cycle where roofs were low enough that hat wearing became less prevalent, and because hats were less commonly worn, roof heights could get even lower. This gets us up to today, where many modern cars have very little room for headwear, and this, to a large extent, put the nail in the coffin of hat wearing as a popular cultural element. We did say that there were 4 main elements to this list, though, which brings us on to our fourth, the internet. In the last decade and a half or so, hats like the fedora and trilby have gained an increasingly negative reputation thanks to internet memes from websites like 4chan, Reddit, and Tumblr. Indeed, for some younger members of our audience, when we mention fedoras, they might first think of the infamous Tips Fedora meme. Because there are now thousands of these easily spreadable memes all over the internet, there are now thousands of these easily spreadable memes all over the internet. The fedora in recent years took on a decided less than cool reputation. We'll set aside for a moment the fact that this is actually a trilby hat depicted in most of these memes. The fact that this is actually a trilby hat depicted in most of these memes and sold in retail stores over the last few decades, but that's a minor quibble. I guess you can't trust everything you read on the internet. Memes like these were used to maliciously bring down people on the internet who were accused of being tryhards or white knights. So now, rather than being associated with stylish figures like Humphrey Bogart or Frank Sinatra, younger generations see the fedora and trilby as being more closely associated with awkward keyboard warriors or neckbeards. Regardless of the fact that keyboard warriors or or neck beards. Regardless of the fact that we'd like to try to improve the average man's online behavior a bit if we can, we'd also like to rehab the reputation of these classic hat styles. So today we rarely see most men wearing hats except for the very casual baseball cap. While some menswear enthusiasts would have the knee-jerk reaction of calling the baseball cap ugly or childish, the fact of the matter is that it does have a rich history, and in fact is older than some of the other traditional styles that we've highlighted before. The earliest records of baseball caps date all the way back to the 1840s, though they were worn almost exclusively for playing baseball and for keeping the sun out of the player's eyes. They didn't enter the realm of civilian wear until the early 20th century, when baseball fans began wearing them to the stadium to support their favorite team. Round about the 1970s, they were worn by Hollywood actors and celebrities in even more varied social situations, and by the 1980s, they were fully mainstream, at least in America. In the 1990s, hip-hop artists and television shows like The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air popularized the snapback style of baseball cap. One factor for the popularity of this hat style is that it is truly the everyman's hat, and that it has no inherent class distinction even in its origin, so it can be worn by anyone. In conclusion, then, there are many socio-cultural, technological, and economic reasons why modern men often skip wearing a hat. From social class to automobiles to central heating to internet message boards, hats have had a rough go of it over the last 50 years or so. Fortunately, though, there are still some social events where hats are required, like at Royal Ascot, for example, or as part of military or other dress uniforms. And even today, over the last 50 years or so. Fortunately, though, there are still some social events where hats are required, like at Royal Ascot, for example, or as part of military or other dress uniforms. And even today, you will occasionally see some celebrities sporting hats as part of their overall image. So perhaps hats will rise again and become popular at some point in the future. We can't say for certain. But if they do, it's likely that they will become popular again because of fashion rather than function. If you've seen our video on whether or not the suit is dying, you'll remember that we made a similar argument there, and indeed the suit is already undergoing this transition. And in the meantime, the classic menswear enthusiasts among us will continue to keep the proud tradition of hat wearing alive. In today's video, I'm wearing a light and summery outfit that's topped off by a hat. It's a Panama straw hat in the traditional off-white color, although instead of having the more typically seen black hat band, this one has a medium brown band. It softens the overall look of the hat a bit and also makes it more easily paired with other wardrobe elements, as I'm taking advantage of here. Two immediately apparent examples would be my two-tone knit tie in changeant silk of brown and beige, and my pocket square in light brown cotton flannel with a hand-rolled X stitch in light gray. My ivory spray rose boutonniere provides a bit of off-white color and visual interest, and harmonizes well with my similarly off-white shirt, into the cuffs of which I've got inserted our gold-plated sterling silver eagle claw cufflinks with tiger's eye as the stone for a brown color field. My blue double-breasted jacket from Hawes & Curtis is relatively lightweight and mostly unlined, and features a subtle check pattern that's good for summer. My plain trousers are in a khaki or stone color, and my tobacco brown suede loafers from Scaroso keep up the casual feel of the outfit and also contribute to the brown color tones. Finally, my two-tone socks in light blue and royal blue tie in with the colors in my jacket and make the entire outfit harmonious from top to bottom. And of course, you can find all of the Fort Belvedere accessories I'm wearing in today's video in the Fort Belvedere shop here.
Чё, и только не так?
Let's finish this.
В итоге все.